So the question is $15 an hour. How will this affect me? And is it a good idea to have at the US as a minimum wage? The argument from the left is basically countries like Switzerland, Sweden, Norway have really high minimum wages. And in the US, we could do the same thing and it would be just like they are. But in reality, those countries are about the size of Tennessee. In a country like Switzerland, whose main GDP is banking, I think they can afford a higher minimum wage. So comparing that to the US is kind of like comparing apples to oranges. When we have huge areas of farmland and huge areas of smaller things that are not very profitable for businesses, and they require lower wages. And it's funny, like the cities seem to think the higher minimum wage is a good idea, but really what it is the people in the country, in the areas of this that are not populated, don't need a higher minimum wage. They actually need a nice low wage so that they can keep their businesses in operation and keep their wages down so that they can make a profit, because some of them are on very slim profit margins. So what will higher minimum wage do? And let's just do this from a standpoint of, let's say you make $20 an hour right now. And, what will happen is other people will be making $15 an hour as a minimum wage. So what will happen is products and services that are on a very slim profit margin, let's say, for instance, fast food, because it's easy for everybody to understand, a hamburger, instead of being $1 or $2 will be, $3 or something like that. It will go up in cost, right? And so will a lot of other products and services. And if you make $20 an hour, basically you'll be getting a pay cut because everything you buy will cost a little bit more money. But to be honest, that's not the worst part of it. What will happen is worldwide, our GDP will go down because everything will cost more to other countries. So how does this work? Basically, other countries are going to have to be forced to pay a higher amount for every product that they buy from the US, because of wages going up, the cost of everything is going to go up, and that will make it harder for us to compete in the global economy. So what will happen? A lot of manufacturing companies, you'll say, oh, well, those companies will be forced to pay a higher wage. Well, guess what happens? It doesn't work that way. The company only has a specific profit margin. If they don't meet it, what they're going to do is they're going to go where labor is cheaper. And where is labor cheaper? China, Mexico, another country. They will just go ahead and fold up in here in the US and move to another country, or they will just fold up altogether or workforce downsize to meet less. They'll have less demand for their products, so they'll lose some of their workforce, and some of them and people will start buying from other countries. So basically, you'll hear a giant sucking sound of jobs going to Mexico and China, and more importing of products from those countries who don't really care about emissions. So if you're a person who's into keeping things green, basically you're going to be contributing to climate change. So is this really what we want to do? Do we really want to raise minimum wage to $15? Is it really going to help our country? Is it going to make it a better place to live? Is it going to increase? There's places in this country, believe it or not, I've been to a lot of them, in like Iowa and Illinois and some other places in rural areas. And even $10 an hour is a livable wage in those areas, believe it or not. Maybe you've never been there. And maybe you should travel a little bit and go to those areas and find out that this is not a good idea for our country. It's not going to help anything. All it's going to do is increase the cost of everything. It's going to take the middle class and push it down. Okay, so if you make $20 an hour, now your $20 an hour is worth less. So all it's going to do is push make our money supply less. It's going to make everybody be looking for jobs. Jobless claims will be up. There'll be more automation. These types of things will take over instead of people. And if you want to keep jobs in this country, keep a low minimum wage. It's the best way to do it. And, maybe make it in the cities where they have the bigger wages. That all can be changed. Not do a nationwide one size fits all minimum wage, $15. It won't work. It'll cause us a lot of problems. You'll find out. I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.